25 per day plus an 11, that's the slope. Next question. Camera depth 39, camera depth in feet. We're just dividing it by 6. 39 divided by 6 is roughly 6, but close to 7. Or, no, we're multiplying it by 6, right? So 234. Well, X, they're saying that M and N are parallel, so 145, 145, it's vertical, exactly equal. Total cost of 58, so we're going to subtract 14 divided by 4. Subtracting 14 gives you 44 divided by 4 gives you 11. What is the value of x minus 7? We're going to add 28, it gives us 4, so x is 1. We're subtracting 7 from 1, so negative 6. 4 is 50. Hannah gave a tip of 20% on the amount bill. What is the amount in dollars of the tip? She just gave her 10% is $5, 20% is going to be $10. They just want the tip amount, not the total amount. Alright, easy. So they're asking about the mean if we add a data set of 121. Well, if we add a data set, the mean is going to be smaller. The mean of the original is going to be bigger. So if we add to 121, it's all smaller. So the mean of data set original is greater than the new mean. All right, we have a shaded line, so it's greater than, but not greater than or equal to. And our slope is negative slope, so it's going to be this one. We are greater than, we're above the line, but we have a negative slope. All right, the line is going down. We're just subtracting them, so we're going to have 7x cubes. The only one, this one has 7x cubes. We have 8 minus negative 2, so adding 2. 7x cubes, positive 10. Look at the slope. We're adding 1, we're adding 8. So the slope is 8. The only one that has a slope of 8 is that one. Solution to this equation, we're going to add 7 and get 0. So d minus 30 with d plus 30 is equal to 0. That means that 30 could be a solution. Also negative 30 could be a solution, so I don't know why they can't be both. If d is 30, this is 0, that becomes, this is all 0, negative 7, negative 7. If this is negative 30, right, then that is 0. This doesn't matter, so 30 or negative 30 works. The equation, blah, 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 x is number of sold, according to the equation, price of dollars if each smaller container. So the small container, x is the number of smaller containers sold. So the price of each smaller container, it's a slope, 4.51. According to estimate of particles, surface 2 millimeters below the surface. If we're at the surface, the thing is 0. Anything to 0 power is 1, so it's just 500. Which of the following is f of x plus 5? We're taking this graph, we're just going to move it up 5. So I'm looking for a point that I know. I see 3, 3, and now that's going to become 3, 8. So 3 should be 3, 8, and that is D. Expresses C in terms of P and N, so we're dividing by N, and then we are 19 minus P over N. So 19 minus P over N, 19 minus P over N. Right, the 19, we're adding C, dividing by N, subtracting that stuff over. Easy. Square, length, what is it? Exterior surface area and square inches without the lid. So there's no lid, so we don't have 6 sides, we only have 5 sides, and each box is 29 inches. It says it's a square. So 29 times 29 is going to be one of the surfaces. That is 841, but we have to multiply it by 5 because there's 5 surfaces and not 6. Sum of the solutions, we're going to subtract 45, and we get 18. That means that the absolute value can be 18, which means x can be 27. Right, but it could also be negative 18, and if it's negative 18, we add 9, and we get negative 9. So 27 minus 9 is 18. Right, so two solutions are 27 and negative 9, and when you add them up, you get 18. Value of tan of 92 pi over 3. So we're going to subtract away as many 2 pi's as we can. 2 pi's is going to be in terms of 6, right? In terms of thirds, 2 pi is 6. So 92 divided by 6 gives us 15. Oh, 92 pi over 3. Do you not have like decimals or something? Yeah, we do. can I just graph y equals 92 pi over 3? I guess if it's over 3, then it is a 60-degree angle. Tangent at 60 degrees is root 3. So it's just root 3. So it's either positive or negative root 3, depending on what quadrant we're in. If it's first quadrant, it's positive. If it's negative quadrant, 15 and... So it's 2/3 pi. 2/3 pi is going to be in the second quadrant, so negative. Right, the way I did this is I took 92, we're dividing it by 6. So we know that there's 15 times that we are going around. So 92 minus 6 times 15 means that we're left with 2. There's a remainder of 2. So we have 2/3 pi left over. Yeah, so we're in the second quadrant, so it's negative. We should just be multiplying by k, so 42a plus 42a k squared. We can factor out a 42a, so 42a, factor out a k as well. It's 42a plus 42a k squared, so we're factoring out 42a. We have k squared plus 1, and we're still divided by k. Or multiplying the second thing by k over k. Yeah. Possible value for a, the point AB lies in the circle. So I mean, we could just literally graph this. The center's at -4 and positive 19, and it's at 121. Or the radius is 11. So, I mean, I can graph this. X plus 4 squared plus y minus 19 squared equals 21. Alright, so we have a circle. Can I make this bigger? Yeah. So I want a coordinate that lies on this plane. So can we not, how do we... Alright, so is he looking for the x coordinate? Is it -16? It's -15. It's not 16. -14. That looks like it's on the point for sure. Yeah, it is. And if you go over here, we don't go to a positive 11 or 19, so it's -14 right there. So the volume of the prism in terms of the lengths, prism space. There's a height of 9, so we should be multiplying by 9. The length of the prism base is x, which is 7 more than the width. So x is the width. Yeah, it's this one. We have x is one of the sides. It's 7 more, so we're subtracting 7, multiplying by 9. So there we go. Passes to the point -24, 0. So if we plug in -24 into x, we get 0. So that means b has to be positive 24. And if we plug 24 into x, we get something small. So a has to be negative. So b has to be positive 24, and a has to be negative. All right, if we plug in -24 into x, we get 0. So -24 square root 0. So this is going to be positive 24. B is positive 24. And we plug in positive 24, we get 48. We get a positive number, but they're saying it's less than 0. So a has to be negative. So a has to be smaller than 0. All right, that was done. I'm pretty confident with it. Right triangle has legs 11, 9. What is the length of the triangle's hypotenuse? It says the right triangle, so Pythagorean theorem, 121 plus 81. Right, 121 plus 81 is 202. Square root of 202 is 14.21. Oh, it's also just right there. So they say that it's linear, so as a constant slope, look at the slope. The change in x is 2, the change in y is 4, so the slope is positive 2. That one has a slope of positive 2. I will put that there. I'm not going to use it yet. Random sample 310, 12% of stocks produced were defective. Margin of error 3.62. Based on the margin of error, which is probably the most appropriate conclusion of all the stocks, right? It's not that that's plausible, right? We don't like the word possible, it's plausible. Margin of error means you go above and below the point. We're going above and below this 12% with that amount, so that is the answer. Which inequality represents possible combinations of x and y? The truck can haul, right? It says the truck can haul maximum of that pounds, and we have a 190-pound piece of equipment. So, right, so the fact that we already have 190 pounds is means we need to subtract that from 5,630, so minus 190. We get 5,440, and we know it has to be less than or equal to that. We cannot be greater than that weight, otherwise it'll mess up. So we have to be less. You can just plug them in, but we will instead say that y equals 13 plus 9x. We're going to make it so it's 2y. 2y equals 26 plus 18x. 2y, which is 5x. If I could write it down, it'd be helpful, but I don't have a writing down. This is 13 plus 18x, and then we're replacing that left side with 5x, so we get 13x equals negative 13, so x is negative 1. I mean, yeah, what am I doing? This is Desmos. We can just literally graph y minus 9x equals 13, and we have another line that says 5x equals 2y, and we're looking for the intersection point. It's at negative 2. Right, work smarter, not harder. What is the range? Range is max minus min, so 52 minus 23. 52 minus 23 is 29. That is the range. What is the cost in $1? First customer paid $12.40 for 1 loaf of bread, 2 dozen eggs. So 1x plus 2y. So 1x plus 2y equals $12.45. And then we have another scenario where we have 4 loaves of bread. So 4x plus 1y, 1 dozen eggs, and that equals 19.42. Again, intersection point. The solution is 3.77 for the loaf of bread, but the y coordinate is the eggs, so y coordinate is 434. Make this bigger. Solutions, how many points? Well, this is a quadratic and that is a flat line, so it should be 2, right? But let's just make sure. So y equals 18, it's a flat line. You just have to zoom out. There it is. And then we have y equals negative 3, parentheses x minus 18 squared, and then plus 15. Right, so there's actually 0 solutions if you look at the graph. Right, you don't have to you can just plug and chug away. We don't have to factor anything. We don't have to do anything like that. So it says a possible solution is x comma y. What is the greatest possible value for x? Well, the greatest one is going to be negative 6. It's bigger than negative 9. Line P is the slope of that, intercept of that. What is the y coordinate of the y-intercept of P? So it has a slope of negative 5/3 and an x of that. Right, x-intercept is when y-intercept when x is 0. So we need to travel 6 units. And if we travel 6 units, we're going to be traveling 10 units down. So 6 units to the right is going to be 10 units down. So I think it should just be -10, but we can make sure y equals -5/3 x. When we plug -6 in, we get 0. When we plug in -6, -5/3 times -6 is 10, so then we have -10. Yep, that is the line that we have. So -6, 0, and we're at -10. So we can distribute and get 12x minus, so that's 15x. We have -36. That's -36. Adding 36 is 0. So 12, a certain number of x's equals 0. That's one solution. Right? If we graph this again, 12x minus 3 equals -3x minus 12. X plus 12. X plus 12. Right, we get one solution right here. How do we know it's 1? Again, 12, we have -3, so 15x. If -36, -36, we're adding to 0. So we get 15x equals -36, or equals 0. One solution. Best interpretation of 6 in the context of this problem. Fabric works 5 yards in length. So she's purchasing Y. It probably means that she started with 6 units. So she purchased Y, and she makes 5 units to make her things. So what she purchased minus what she used equals 6. So she purchased 6 more fabrics than she used. Quadratic has no real solutions, right? We need imaginary. So b squared minus 4ac has to be smaller than 0. So it's going to be this one, right? B squared is a number, minus positive and positive. So that's the only one that's going to make it work. These are not going to be big enough, right? And this, if you have a negative, then it's all, that square root's always going to be positive. So it's going to be that one. Which is found as close representation of P in that. So it's going to be 84, right? Oh, 84. So x over 4. But now we have it just related to x. So if we took that thing divided by 4, that means that we actually multiplied the rate by 4. So it should be 21. And if you're not sure, you can graph. So we can say that y equals 1.84 raised to the x over 4. And then we can say y equals 1 plus 21 over 100. And then raised to the x, and they are not the same line. Interesting. But I would just set it up like this, and then you can just keep changing the numbers. So we tried 21, it didn't work. Let's try 46, didn't work. Let's try 96, didn't work. Let's try 16. It doesn't work either. Which one's closest? I would say 16 is probably closest then. Because 16 times 4 equals 64. 21 times 4 equals 84. It should be 21 for sure. Yeah, it should definitely be that, but I'll mark this one. Has no solution, then we want the things to have we want to match up the coordinates, match them up. So we have 7r on that side. When we add 10, we get 10w. So 7r, we get minus 10w. This should be positive 10. Because 7r is on the right side. When we move the w over, we get minus 10w. So we move it over to the left, minus 10w. And then the -6 and positive 11 are going to be different. So it should be positive 10. Then we move it over, it becomes -10. That is for sure correct. Which is value of b times c. Alright, so we could look at the vertex. The vertex is -1, -8. So negative b over 2a equals -1. Negative b, so b is 2. Because -2 over No, b is 4. B is 4. And then if b is 4, what's c? C is going to be -6, so -24. Right, if you plug in 0, you get -6. That's the c value, but b is -4. No, b is +4. And yeah. C and D are positive constants, which are going to define f. So they shifted it up 19 already. So we just need to move it down 19. So that should be, we're at +3. It's going to be a down at -13. If C and D are positive constants. So this is a negative slope. So if C is positive, we're going to have a negative slope. So we need it to not say plus C, because then that would mean that we have a positive slope. So we need a negative slope. And if D is a positive number, we need it to be negative because we're going to be below the line. So it's A. What is the area? They gave us CE and they gave us AB. So we need the area. We need to find DE and we need to find AE. AC is 3, CE is 21, so 24 is the base. So 24 is our base. So, right, 1/2, our base is 24, so times 24, and our height is going to be DE. So we can use these right here to get the length of BC, so square root 34, so 34 minus 9 is 25, so BC is a length of 5, and from AC to CE we times by 8, so then that means the height's going to be 40, so 480. Right, AB is, so square AB, and you get 34. Square this side, you get 9, so 34 minus 9 is 25, so BC is 5, square rooted 5. That is 3, this is 21, so together it's 24. It's 1/8 as big as the whole thing, so multiply that 5 by 8, you get 40, so it's 480. The result of increasing the quantity x by 400% is 60, so x times 5 equals 60. X times 5 equals 60. So x is 12, right? 60 divided by 5, right? Why is it divided by 5? Because we increased it by 400%, but we still had x, so it's x plus 400, 4.0x, so it's 5 x's. Circle C is center of that. A, B line the circle. A has coordinates this. And A, C, B. I'm going to have to draw that one out. So we're saying that data F is multiplying the y coordinate of each data point from data E by 3.9. This is data set E, and they're saying data set F is created by multiplying them by 3.9. So if we multiplied all of them by 3.9, we just multiply the y coordinate. We move the slope way bigger, but the x's doesn't change. So we find the slope of this line multiplied by 3.9. The slope is roughly, for every 10 that we go, we increase like from 20, 25 from 15, or from like 12 to 27.5. So the slope went up by 15 when it went over 10. So the slope is currently 1.5. 1.5 times 3.9. It's going to be a slope of 5.9. So is it that one or is it that one? Well, if we multiply the y coordinates when x is 0, the y coordinate's 12. So yeah, the y coordinate should get multiplied as well. So that one looks good. Three times outside, large square is 3 times as big. So electric field strength is that, passes uniformly, perpendicular, total electric flux of the surface is that number. What is electric flux of the electric field, the larger square? So basically it's like area, right? Is it product electric field and the area of the surface. So the area, right? So it's that number, and the area is 3 times as big, but it's 3 times as big this way and that way. So it's 9 times as big. So 4640 times 9 gives us 41. 7600 or 760. That's going to be what it is again. The larger square is 3 times as big, but it's 3 times as big that way and that way, so it's 9 times bigger. So that's the correct answer. This question looks like a pain. So we went right 1, and then we went up 102. And ACB is a right angle. ACB is a right angle. They want that length. So if that's the center, then we are 1 bigger, and that's the center, we're up there. I need a piece of paper for this. First time I'm using a piece of paper. Center is HK, the point is H.1. They are on the circle, it says, so H, 1 and that much. They said ACB is a right angle. We want that. So I can find the distance that's gapped in between that, and it has to be the same distance from the center to B because they're both in the circle. Take both of those distances, square them, add them together, and then square root them. Right, so Pythagorean theorem. So the distance is 1 squared plus square root 102 squared. So it's 103. Right, we traveled 1 distant unit, and we'll square root 102 units. So square this 1, square this 102. So square root of 103 is the total distance. So we have a triangle. It becomes a triangle that has up and this way, square root 103, this way, square root 103. Those have to be isosceles and right angle. So 103 squared plus 103 squared is 206. And then 206 square rooted. I don't know if they want that as the answer, but square root 206, yeah, there it is. So that is it. I'm done. I'm pretty sure I got 800 on the math. We'll see.